All of a sudden, a blizzard started during the middle of summer. Dad's SUV had only one spot left. My sister quickly jumped in, leaving me pleading outside. "Lily, you're the older sister and you're stronger too. You should give your sister this chance. We believe you can survive on your own." Then they took all the food and mercilessly left me in the snowstorm, wearing only a thin shirt. But later, I awakened a mysterious ice power, used it to guide people safely through the apocalypse, and became a hero. Meanwhile, my family suffered, stripped of their food and clothes by thugs, dying in the freezing cold. Then I opened my eyes and found myself back on that day of escape. My sister decided to stay this time, determined to be the hero. But little did she know, the power was something I was born with. Even living again, it would still be mine. There's only one spot left in Dad's SUV. Oscar has to take it because he's the only boy in the family, and he must carry on the family line. "One of you sisters will have to stay." Dad's words echoed as he put on a fake sad face. I was disgusted. Fine, even if I lived again, I'd still be the hero, so who needs such a family? As I was about to say I'd stay, my sister Amy jumped in front of me anxiously. "Dad, let Lily take the car. I'll stay." I was shocked to see such determination on Amy's face, only to notice a sinister expression soon after. She whispered to me, "You just got lucky last time. This time, I'll awaken the powers and become the hero." "What did you say?" I asked, stunned. "Nothing," she replied, reverting to her tragic demeanor. Could Amy have been reborn too? Last time, even though Dad asked for our opinions, they already had their decision. My brother and sister are twins, always living with our parents in the city, while I grew up with our grandparents. It was obvious who'd be chosen. Surprisingly, Dad patted her shoulder, nodded tearfully and said, "Amy, we're so proud of you. Unlike some people who are just selfish." He glanced at me disapprovingly, then pulled out a big stash of food from the car, setting it on the ground. "Take this food, survive, and help us live well someday." His voice was quiet, but brimming with excitement. How were they so quick to give in? Amy's their precious daughter. A shocking idea hit me. Could the whole family have been reborn? "Dad, Mom, Oscar, I'll survive. Get to the safe zone." Amy nodded tearfully, shooting me a smug glance. They hugged each other, crying as if someone had died. Watching this act made me sick. Last time they left me heartlessly with nothing, not even a coat, and drove off while I chased their car in the snow. Yet, when I gained powers, they got jealous. Even now, they want to ruin my chances. I held up my hand, and a snowflake formed out of nowhere. I laughed at them silently. Did they think powers awaken just from freezing in the cold? This ability is innate. I never awakened it before because I lived in warm southern climates my whole life. Then Oscar stormed over and slapped me hard. "It's your fault, Amy has to stay out here." Feeling the pain on my face, I wanted to freeze this brutish brother of mine. Sadly, I'm still in the early stages of awakening, barely able to form an icicle. "If you care so much, let her take the car." "I'll stay," I said, stepping out into the ice. Now their faces showed panic. Dad grabbed me quickly, saying, "Lily, don't be mad at your brother. He's just a kid playing around. Get in the car." Mom chimed in, "Yeah, you're the big sister. Be magnanimous. Oscar just slapped you, don't hold a grudge." I looked sorely at my brother, but let Dad push me into the car. The SUV was packed with stuff, leaving little room in the back seats. Most of it was unnecessary. If Dad left behind some of his wine, Amy a few clothes, Oscar his shoes, I'd have more space. But they didn't. To them, I was worth less than these things. The car was freezing, but Dad chose not to run the heater to save gas for the journey to the safe zone. The rest of them shivered in thick coats, while I wore just a thin jacket. I never packed for cold. They bought theirs while abandoning me to vacation in the snowy north. But it didn't matter. As an ice-powered person, I stayed warm no matter the clothing. I felt hungry and reached for a package of cookies, but Oscar snatched it away. "Greedy pig, what are you doing eating? If you finish it, what's left for us? We should have left you behind." Mom turned around saying, "Lily, we're all hungry. Do you feel right eating in front of us?" Since they left so much food for Amy, supplies in the car dwindled fast, making any opportunity to waste unacceptable. I rolled my eyes and swung the car door open. The wind and snow rushed in. "If I can't eat, then no one can live," I said. My family was startled and my dad panicked, crashing the car into a nearby tree. Luckily, we weren't going fast, so no one got hurt. "Are you crazy?" my brother screamed, grabbing my collar ready to hit me. Just then, a group of masked men appeared, pointing guns at us. "Don't move. Get down," they yelled. This didn't happen last time. My parents were shaking with fear and did what they were told. "What are you doing? This is illegal." My brother, tall and strong, tried to stand up to them, but the leader fired a shot into the snow, scaring him to the ground. A puddle of liquid appeared between his legs, soon freezing into ice. "Illegal? I am the law," the leader declared. "Now grab all their valuables and food." As soon as the word robbery came out, my mom panicked. She's super stingy and would be more devastated losing her jewelry than anything else. She knelt in front of the leader, pleading, "Please don't take our stuff. How about this? My daughter here is 22, beautiful. You can take her and let us go." I burst out laughing. "Are you listening to yourself? I'm your daughter." She snapped back, "Now's the time for you to repay us. We've done so much for you after all." My brother joined in, "Yeah, you owe us for everything. What's the big deal about spending a night with these guys? Just spread your legs and get it over with. Who knows, they might even take care of you." He turned to the leader with a fake smile. "My sister's never even dated, she's pure. Go ahead, have fun." Even my dad, always claiming to be fair, stayed silent, basically agreeing with them. "You think you took care of me?" "I remember being dumped at Grandpa and Grandma's with only $500 in 3 years," I retorted. "I had to scrape together my college tuition with loans. How dare you say you've been more than enough?" My question left them speechless. "Even if we didn't give you much, you still owe us because we're family." My mom stubbornly insisted. "I've never seen anyone sell out their family," I shot back. Her face flushed with embarrassment. At that moment, my silent dad spoke up, "Lily, stop acting childish. You spending time with them isn't death." But my mom gave him a nudge and he fell silent again. Laughing, I said, "Fine, I'll go with them." The leader smiled sleazily as he came toward me. My family looked relieved and started to get back into the car. I interrupted, "Wait, are you robbers going by the book? Even if I go, you can still take the stuff in the car. There's liquor, jewelry, Nike sneakers." "Lily, you traitor," my brother yelled, but the men kicked him to the ground. "This girl's smart. I'll make sure she's taken care of." The leader smirked as his men ransacked the car. My parents were helpless, unable to act against the guns. All their anger turned on me. "Lily, why are you doing this to us?" Dad shouted. Ignoring him, I told the leader, "The SUV is worth $100,000, and the keys are in my dad's pocket." My dad looked at me, stunned, trying to protect his pocket. But the man fired at my dad's hand without hesitation. Blood started pooling and freezing. The leader grabbed the keys, pushing my family aside like trash, taking me with him into the snow. "You'll get what's coming, Lily. Wait till Amy gets her powers and you'll be crawling to us," my family screamed as we sped off, their voices drowned by the wind. I chuckled, thinking Amy was probably frozen solid by now. Lost in thought, I felt a hand groping me. "Sweetie, how come you're so warm in this weather?" the leader said sleazily, stopping the car intending to assault me. I pretended to go along with it, entwining my fingers with his. He grinned like a creep but soon looked horrified as his hand became encased in ice. I smiled sweetly. "You seem hot-headed, let me cool you down." He stared in shock as I turned him into an ice statue. Armed with my past life experience, I've quickly improved. Within a few hours, I can't control snowstorms yet, but freezing one person is easy. Hardened by 5 years in the apocalypse, I booted him out of the car without hesitation. Off to find a safe zone, I set off, though being a bit directionally challenged, what should have been a quick trip took me until nightfall. After getting off the car, I went through the staff's checks and registration. Just as I was about to go inside, I saw my parents and younger brother had somehow arrived. When they saw me, they were stunned at first, then angrily rushed at me. "How dare you show up here, you bitch!" Ignoring them, I took a bag of food from the car. Right away, they got jealous and reported to the staff nearby. "She can't enter the safe zone. She's our daughter but stole our car and food, leaving us to fend for ourselves. She's heartless." I rolled my eyes, not wanting to engage with them, but they just wouldn't let up. But in these end times, who's got time for their nonsense? When the report failed, my dad got all red-faced, his hands bandaged. His usual calm demeanor was gone. Suddenly he had an idea and exclaimed, "My second daughter is a superhuman. A big hero saving humanity. You should respect me, or I won't let her save you." Normally someone might take him for a fool, but the staff knew something and asked seriously, "Is what you're saying true, sir?" "Of course. My second daughter Amy is a superhuman. She'll join us soon. Kick this bitch out first, and I'll have my daughter save you. You wait here. I'll get the boss," said the staff, quickly leaving, while my parents and brother gave me smug looks. "Lily, kneel and apologize and maybe we'll spare you," they gloated. I treated their nonsense like barking dogs, which really ticked them off. Just then, a man who looked like a leader approached me. "Do you have superpowers?" he asked urgently. No, it's my second daughter. She's not here yet. This brat can't have powers," my mom hurriedly said. "Oh, when will she arrive?" he asked, a bit disappointed. I chuckled, thinking Amy probably couldn't survive the cold outside. As an ice crystal formed in my hand, ready to demonstrate, a familiar voice called out, "It's me. I'm the superhuman." Stunned, I looked in the direction of the voice. Amy stood there wrapped like a burrito, her face red from the cold. My parents and brother cried with joy, hugging her. So she didn't die. Well, dressed warmly and with food, it's no surprise. Really? Fantastic. We need superhumans now more than ever. Show us, please. The leader excitedly pulled Amy to demonstrate. Somewhat hesitant, Amy stuttered, looking guilty. "Amy, show them." My mom urged, both anxious and excited. With everyone watching, Amy awkwardly went into a stance, waving her hands around. "Hey! Ha! Ice come!" But after a while, not even a drop appeared. I almost laughed out loud. She really had me going with her theatrics. The leader frowned and asked, unsurprised, "Are you kidding? This isn't the time for jokes." My parents, panicked, urged her on. Amy almost cried, but embarrassed, kept pretending. Quietly, I formed an ice block in Amy's hands. There it is," she shouted in excitement, and the crowd cheered. "Humanity is saved. Follow me, please." The leader nearly jumped in joy, respectfully guiding Amy to the base center. As she passed me, Amy arrogantly hummed, whispering so only I could hear, "This time I'm the hero." Watching her leave, I chuckled coldly. I'll play along for now. Can't wait to see her exposed. After a long talk, Amy returned, buoyed with pride. She couldn't show more power later, but her earlier success had people convinced she was just inexperienced. "Mom, Dad, brother, soon they'll set us up in the best suite. We four will live easy." Pretending she just noticed me, Amy acted surprised. "Oh, I forgot about you, sis. I only got a 3-bedroom, so you might have to sleep in the living room." Before I could respond, my brother spat in disgust. "She's ungrateful. You're too nice, sis. Let her freeze and ward off evil." "Exactly. You don't know what she did. She teamed up with bandits, took our car, food, and valuables. Teach her a lesson." My mom chimed in. Amy, awkwardly smiling, tried to appear saintly, suggesting, "Hey, we're family. If you apologize and bow, I might forgive you and let you sleep in the living room. How does that sound?" Amy looked at me, eyes full of provocation. I gave her an eye roll, smirking, "No need. Milk it while you can before you're found out and left with nothing. You piece of trash, what do you mean by that?" Amy finally dropped the act and lunged at me maliciously. Just then a big guy stepped between us. "You new here?" he asked, and 5 or 6 others appeared beside him, holding batons and looking menacing. Amy was a bit scared, but she remembered she's a powerful being and arrogantly replied, "So what if we are? If you're new, someone needs to teach you the rules. This area is under our protection. You gotta pay a fee, food, drinks, gold, whatever," the big guy said. With the post-apocalyptic chaos, these guys saw an opportunity to exploit. "You're dreaming. I'd rather feed pigs than give you anything," my brother shouted, backing it up. But the big guy wasn't having it. He slapped my brother hard, knocking him to the ground. "You dared to hit me. Do you know who my sister is?" my brother wailed, clutching his face. The big guy squinted at Amy, curious. Amy swallowed hard, legs shaking, but bluffed, "I'm a superpower being. I could turn you all into ice sculptures in a second." The guys looked at each other, then burst into laughter. "You gotta be kidding me. A superpower being? Too many apocalypse novels, huh?" They laughed. "Laugh now, you'll cry later," Amy snapped. Just then our parents came up, seeing my brother being hit, and Mom, thinking her superpowered daughter was invincible, scratched the big guy's face furiously. "You dare hit my son? Amy, teach them a lesson." Mom's words provoked the big guy. He kicked her 5 or 6 yards away, leaving her writhing in pain. "Screw this. Attack them, guys. Let's see what kind of superpowers they have." Instantly, they rushed my parents and brother, hitting and kicking them senselessly. Meanwhile, I had slipped out of the conflict, watching from a distance. "How dare you? I'm a superpowered being." Amy screamed desperately, waving her hands, but nothing happened. "Yeah right, this chick's hilarious. Good looking though. We'll have fun with her later," the big guy sneered. Amy was on the verge of tears. "Amy, hurry. Dad's gonna get beaten to death." My brother cried out, writhing in pain. As the crowd grew larger, and as Amy desperately tried to use her supposed powers, I focused my energy and in a flash turned the big guy into an ice sculpture. The place went dead silent. "Oh my god, there really is a superpower being," someone finally blurted out. The next second, the place broke into cheers. "We're saved. It's a superpowered being. No, it's gotta be a god here to save us, Savior. Please save us." The crowd knelt, raising their arms as if Amy really was a goddess. Amy glanced at her hands, the lifelike ice sculpture, and then the cheering crowd. A cocky grin spread across her face. "Ha! I'm the savior. I'm here to save you all. Where was that big talk about hitting people?" she said and walked toward the remaining thugs. Witnessing Amy's power, they crumbled, pleading at her feet. "Savior, we didn't know your greatness. Please spare us. Don't turn us into ice sculptures." They pleaded as Amy beat them up, not daring to fight back. Proud of herself, she glanced at me and then back at her adoring crowd, basking in their praise. Then Dad stepped forward, clearing his throat, addressing the crowd. "Ahem, my daughter's here to save you all. But she's not doing it for free. Show us you deserve it." As Dad finished, people glanced at each other nervously. Quickly, someone offered some gold. "This is all I have, please save us." Prompted by one, the others followed, offering whatever they could to win Amy's favor. Soon they were overwhelmed with gifts and greedy smiles stretched across their faces. I stayed aside, observing coldly, certain that whatever it was, their laughter wouldn't last long. Amy's status as a superpower being quickly spread throughout the base. Many handed over their life savings seeking protection. The base leaders knew but played along for humanity's sake. I kept my distance, avoiding them to steer clear of trouble. Since becoming the savior, Amy became more arrogant, bullying her way through the safe zone. Anyone who crossed her was beaten by my brother. The safe zone was small, bumping into them was inevitable. One day I saw Amy arrogantly standing by as my brother assaulted a 13-year-old boy viciously. "You brat, don't you greet the savior? Tired of living, huh? Hit him harder." Amy spat angrily at the boy. The crowd was outraged but too afraid to intervene. I frowned and swiftly kicked my brother away. As my powers grew, so did my strength, easily knocking my 180-pound brother to the ground. "Damn! Who's the blind idiot?" My brother got up awkwardly and was about to get mad. Then he saw me and paused. "Oh, isn't it my sister? Haven't seen you for a week, huh? Feeling too ashamed to show your face around us, so you're hiding?" Amy chimed in, full of sarcasm. "Oh, it's this bitch, why'd you pop up suddenly? Jealous of our good life? Wanna hang with us? It's too late. Even if you begged, it's useless." My brother shouted arrogantly. I ignored their taunts and instead gave them a once-over with disdain. "How, what two pathetic clowns." My brother flew into a rage at that, lunging at me with fists flying. But with my enhanced powers, his moves seemed in slow motion to me. Dodging easily, I kicked him to the ground where he fell embarrassingly. "You, aren't you afraid I'll freeze you?" Amy glared, hand reaching to cast a spell, startling the crowd around us. "Oh, go ahead, I'd like to see you try," I said, standing there fearlessly. This seemed to unnerve Amy. "You asked for it. Ice come," she yelled, waving her hand. Clearly nothing happened. "What's wrong? Seems like you're all show," I said with a smile. "Bitch. I just slipped up, let me try again." Amy insisted, but no matter how hard she tried, no ice appeared. The crowd began to murmur. Why can't the savior use her powers? Was she just faking all along? Are you crazy? She turned a person into an ice sculpture. Yeah, but once. Has she ever shown her power since then? I think she's a scam. Hearing this, Amy's face flushed with embarrassment and she yelled at them to shut up. Even though her credibility was cracking, people were still afraid to go against her and fell silent. Just then, the base manager rushed over. "What's all this noise about?" he asked. Seeing her chance, Amy exaggeratedly accused me. "Bro, I order you to kick this person out of the safe zone. She's a troublemaking bitch who left my parents and brother to die and beat my brother up like this." The manager looked troubled and helplessly turned to me. I think there's a misunderstanding here. Maybe you could just apologize to Miss Amy, and we'll let it slide." But before I could speak, Amy butted in. "An apology won't cut it. She has to go. It's her or me. If I'm forced out, I won't save anyone, we'll all die together. Amy, have some shame, will you?" I couldn't hold back, wanting to expose everything. Just then, a gentle breeze blew. In the next instant, the sky turned fierce with a storm pouring down. Within moments, buildings in the safe zone started toppling, and people scattered screaming. Not far off, a giant tornado was heading our way. Oh no! How did the first storm come so quickly? In my last life, it came 3 months after awakening my powers. It was like hell on earth, ripping houses and trees from the ground. Countless people and things were swept into the storm, their fates unknown. But now, only a week in, and this devastation. My God! Do something, Savior! The tornado's coming. The base manager was trembling with fear, looking over to see the so-called Savior, Amy, equally terrified. "What is this? Run!" she yelled, trying to flee, but the manager grabbed her. "You can't run. You're the Savior. Use your powers and save us. All 50,000 lives in this zone depend on you." Yes, I'm the Savior, I can do it," Amy gasped, trembling as she reached the base entrance. The tornado was about to engulf the zone, maybe 3 to 5 minutes left before everyone perished. "Ice come! Ice come!" Amy screamed desperately, flailing her arms. But no matter how hard she tried, nothing happened. "Come on, powers! I'm the Savior! The Savior!" Amy was screaming herself hoarse, veins popping in her neck. But all her efforts were in vain as the tornado drew nearer. No, how can this be?" Amy fell to the ground, lifeless. The base manager cried out, "Savior, aren't you the Savior? Help us! Is there anyone who can save us?" Meanwhile, I walked forward with determination, shock clear on the manager's and Amy's faces. "Lily, come back. It's dangerous. Bitch, do you think this is your past life? You think you have powers? I told you I don't, and you definitely don't." Amy's torn voice echoed behind me, but I ignored it. Faced with the powerful tornado, I closed my eyes and gathered the surrounding cold air. In the next moment, I spread my arms wide, and a thick wall of ice rose from the ground, freezing the entire tornado in place almost instantly. Then the frozen tornado shattered, turning into tiny ice crystals fading into the air. Afterward, I turned to see everyone staring with wide eyes and dropped jaws as if witnessing a miracle. Among them were my parents and brother, their faces pale like zombies. Finally, someone stuttered out, "That's the Savior, that's the real Savior. The Savior saved us." Then everyone started cheering for me. But I just shook my head slowly and said, "I'm not a savior, just an ordinary person. We need to work together to get through this apocalypse." Hearing my words, the crowd's cheers grew even louder. Meanwhile, Amy stood there shaking her head painfully. No way, it was supposed to be me suffering and surviving. Why is the power yours?" Then, as if realizing something, she gave me a hateful look. "Yes, it must be you. You stole my powers. You thief. I'll kill you." With that, Amy rushed at me, trying to tackle me. But she was no match for me. I barely had to lift a foot to send her flying like a bow without a string. "You didn't think just suffering would grant powers, did you? I've been the one behind all those powers you thought were yours. I was born with these, they'll always be mine, no matter how many times I'm reborn." Once I said that, Amy collapsed like a deflated balloon. At that moment, someone pointed at my parents and brother, shouting, "This family are all frauds, pretending to be saviors, stealing and cheating money, bullying others. Don't let them get away." Just like that, everyone's anger was ignited. In the week Amy pretended to be a savior, they committed all kinds of misdeeds, stealing people's belongings. People ganged up, beating my parents and brother. "Ah! Stop hitting us. You'll kill us. I'll return the money." Lily, save us. I'm your mom. You can't abandon us like this. Don't be so heartless. Sis, save me. I'll be good to you from now on. I'll do anything for you. Please save me. Daughter, I was wrong. I'll never do it again. Please stop. They cried and screamed for mercy, reaching out to me for help, just like when I begged them not to leave me behind in the car in the past life. They had it coming. Gradually realizing I wouldn't help, they began cursing me. Wretch, you'll die a horrible death. You're going to hell. We won't let you go even as ghosts. But their words had no power. Soon their voices faded. The person in charge tugged at my side anxiously. You need to save them. It can't end with them getting beaten to death. I shrugged, raising an ice wall to stop the angry crowd. But it was too late. They were already dead. Just like last time, I used my powers to lead humanity in resisting the apocalypse together. Finally, with everyone's effort, the storm was held back, and the snow began to melt. To prevent floods from the melting snow raising sea levels, I worked tirelessly moving the snow to the poles, also solving the previous polar ice cap melting issue. Quickly, human civilization thrived again, and once more I became the savior with statues erected worldwide. A sunny afternoon 10 years later, Amy's voice echoed, "You only got lucky. It should have been me with the power. I should have been the savior." She was the savior, the God who saved them. She was the savior. A doctor told me her condition had worsened and was unlikely to improve. I shrugged, planning to leave. As I turned to walk out, a loud crash came from the hospital room. The doctor rushed in to find Amy had hit her head against the wall, blood gushing, lifeless. Her eyes still fixed on me, filled with bitterness and anger. I walked over, closed her eyes, and used my cold energy to freeze her in an ice block. Maybe it would keep away bad luck. The inn.